This is the future.
Before we continue, I would like to say that all the setup you will see here is based on my playstyle. You might have a different build that you enjoyed the most, and I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. Now, let's begin. There are tons of frame and weapon combos in Warframe, or even just ability combos that can kill enemies in the game faster than Digital Extremes can nerf it. I'm just joking. However, there are just those simply overpowered ones that outshine the rest of the pack. In this video, I will share with you some of the setup I'm using, which I can say are the fastest kill speed combos in Warframe. But before we start, let me just say a few words about what you will be seeing in this video. First of all, you will see a complete build that is more towards solo plays, meaning it is the right amount of survivability while not sacrificing the power to kill fast. Despite that, you can enjoy these builds while playing solo. This doesn't mean that it is not meant to be enjoyed also in team composition. In fact, they can also be better in a team composition, but you would need to modify your mod setup depending on the needs of your team. The good part about this is when you use this setup in team composition, you will still be the leader in kills, and it will be more potent if the team has something to buff your killing power. The first one would be Condition Overload Vorunner. The term Condition Overload Vorunner is just a title for her, as instead of using a condition overload melee weapon, the wolf-inspired Warframe has an ability called Fangs of Raksh that applies random multiple statuses to a target, and when the target dies, it will spread the status to the enemies within the area. It's not just good with condition overload melee, but also condition overload with the help of galvanized aptitude, galvanized savvy, or galvanized shots. What's more impressive with this is that it can take advantage of the various effects of the new Archon mods but not Archon Flow, due to its requirement for cold-based kills and not just its status proc. The best way, in my opinion, to get the most out of this combo is to use a fast melee weapon, or any melee weapon that has high critical and status chance, typically hybrid melee weapons, and there are tons to choose from right now, but I prefer those melee weapons with insane damage distribution on their because this will give the setup extra survivability and nuking power through the help of the mecha set mods. Vorunner with a condition overload melee that is based, plus the mecha mod set allows the synergy to be better. If you kill the target affected by Fangs of Raksh with bleed, then the rest of the enemies near the target will not only get random statuses, but they will also receive AoE bleed procs from the mecha set. Not to mention that this will also increase the armor of Vorunner, giving her more survivability aside from her ability that makes her invisible while not attacking, called Shroud of Dinah. Not to mention that I also implement a shield gating exploit on this build, wherein I always get a shield every time I cast an ability to take advantage of the 1-second invulnerability. It's a complete build that can survive, kill, and enjoy while doing the two, especially in Steel Path to any higher level scenarios. The next is called Magnificent Mag. In any of my top damage dealer videos, I always have Mag, and I'm very happy that 2022 brought more changes to Mag that even made her a supreme Warframe in terms of damage dealing. Her pull ability now creates a mini vortex when casting, which gathers enemies in front of Mag. Polarized shards on the ground will also be pulled into this vortex. Also, aside from Magnetize being stupidly broken when it comes to grouping, killing enemies inside the bubble fast, and potentially nuking all enemies near the bubble after it expires, Digital Extremes gave it some quality of life changes. Shards from Polarize are pulled into the Magnetize bubble, including shards orbiting Mag. Charged Magnetize absorb shards increase the damage by 500 for each one. Scales with ability strength mods. And lastly, they increased the angle of the protective cast from 80 to 120 degrees across all ranks. The Polarize ability also got a quality of life changes as well as her crush ability. Polarized shards are now significantly larger and hover above the ground, making them much easier to see. Shards within 3 meters of Mag now orbit her, inflicting the slasher puncture status effect on nearby enemies. Unified range and duration across all ranks to 8 meters and 5s respectively. Meanwhile, Crusher now has a unified range across all ranks to 18 meters. Also, Mag now has a shield gating mechanic, and shield also works with adaptation mod, which gives more damage mitigation to it before even taking advantage of the 1-second invulnerability of shield gating. This is enough survivability for Mag, but if that's not enough for you, then you can also use Augur mods to gain more shield every cast. I think that's pretty enough survivability in solo plays, and you can go focus on adding more power to your magnetize. One way of doing that is giving mag some insane subsume abilities such as Wisp Breach Surge. Not only that, you add more crowd control to the Warframe, but each time you cast Breach Surge in enemies grouped by magnetize, the kill speed becomes bananas. All in all, Mag is a pretty solid Warframe right now, and to think of it, she is a starter frame that you can abuse at the very early stage of the game. The next two Warframes are pretty obvious, and that is Plague Queen Saren and Obliterator Octavia. Saren will always be in the conversation for the strongest DPS in the game as long as she has her spore abilities. There's nothing to talk about Saren, as the simple idea is to spread spores to lower the armor and increase the infection of the ability, which in return will increase the damage dealt to the target. The best thing right now is you can give Saren insane survivability with the Gloom ability from Shevagoth. Spores will continue to heal Saren for as long as it's active, while you will be spreading spores carefree with the help of the slow coming from Gloom. It's the perfect combo for Saren, and if you also add the mecha set while wielding a slash-based weapon, then you can further boost the survivability of Saren through the bonus armor of Mecha Pulse. But be mindful that sometimes contradicting kills between your melee and the corrosive from your spores ability. How about Saren's other abilities, Squad Leader? Well, it's also good to know you can spread viral with her fourth ability, making it easier to kill enemies, and even have good luck with the AoE slash for the mecha mod set. For Octavia, it's simple as dropping your mallet and watching the enemies die. That's it, plain and simple. What's good about this Warframe is it has infinite invisibility for as long as you are teabagging with the beat of a metronome. Just drop the mallet, teabag, and watch the enemies die. Another simple combo that gives you enough kill speed is the Nuka Chroma. Equip Kuva Brahma or any other nuke weapons and you will end up destroying multiple enemies at once. The only thing you need is to build your Chroma with high power, strength and duration. If you can subsume Gloom, then it's a complete build that has the firepower to kill enemies fast, and then the tool to survive against high-level enemies. Yet another easy synergy is Jack the Ripper Valkyria. Over the years, Hysteria Valkyria have been buffed indirectly. This means that Digital Extremes did not buff the Warframe directly, but the things that they added in the game like arcanes, mods, and other stuff made Hysteria Valkyria a very good setup for endgame levels. Okay, let me explain. There's a way to keep up the energy right now of Valkyria's Hysteria in high-level plays, and that is combining the new arcane for Operator, Emergence Dissipate, and then yet another Operator arcane named Magus Anomaly. The latter will help you group enemies when you spam going in and out of your Warframe, and then, once you void Sling cancel, you will activate the effect of Emergence Dissipate that gives you 10 energy per enemy affected. This means that you can just spam this trick to regain energy every time Hysteria is close to depleting all your energy. The good news is, Gladiator mod set still works with Valkyria, giving you that red crit you need without using any augment that hinders you from using Hysteria for a couple of seconds. This is fun especially for those players who are new to playing Valkyria and would want to be powerful against high-level enemies. Then, there's the pillage builds that I enjoyed so much. One is for the OG of this ability, Hildren, and the other one is for the Airbender Warframe Baruch. With the help of power strength mods and arcanes, we can now reach 400% power strength, which is the required power strength for pillage to fully strip armor and shield. It's unfair for the enemies to have Hildren at 400% power, and when you pair Hildren with Gloom, then it's over. The same can be said with Baruch Prime. Instead of keeping his first ability, I decided to replace it with Pillage to finally make this Warframe a full offensive Warframe. With Pillage, you can strip the armor and shield of enemies, making them extremely vulnerable against a red crit airbending Baruch Prime. Next, we have one of my favorite setup, the Spider Bomb or Rivara. I know, I just love the Kuva Brahma. It's very versatile in my kill speed setup, especially with this Ivara. I call this Spider Nuka Rivara since we will take advantage of the dash wire with the empowered Quiver augment to boost the critical damage. This also works well with the Glaive Prime, especially if you have a negative efficiency setup which hastens the stacking of the bonus damage from the Navigator ability. The best part is, you can also put Eclipse on this, but you would need to sacrifice the faster damage buff charging though, since you would need a duration mod for Eclipse. The result is pretty amazing, and you can rain down hell on enemies while you are in your dash wire. Just remember though, you would need to go down on your dash wire when casting a subsume ability like Eclipse, but I don't see that as a problem at all. The last one is Exodia Contagion Breach Surge Wisp, with the Subsume Eclipse ability from Mirage. Do you want 2 billion damage? Then this is the best setup to start with. I know there's Banshee that can also do a 2 billion damage setup with her sonar ability, but I prefer Wisp because she has better survivability. The Exodia Contagion setup will task you to jump, and while in the air, we know that Wisp is invisible, hence the perfect survivability for this setup. Not to mention that the haste molt that increase the projectile speed of the Exodia Contagion. Now, I got a secret trick on this. If you don't know, that encourages red crit without any other buffs. That is the heavy attack throw, which procs the critical chance of sacrificial steel on the heavy attack. If you want to learn a detailed guide about it, then I have put the link to the video in the description. So that's all about it. Watch out for another guide video this week. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.